What if you could help others to find the power to heal themselves, physically, emotionally, and spiritually?
When I started teaching my classes, it was in 2002, and I was just doing past life regressions and contacting the subconscious part. But then as the time went on and we found how powerful this was and what we could do with it, a lot of the students began saying, you know, advanced past life regression doesn't really tell what it's all about. This is so much more than that. We think you should change the name. So it was a few years ago, we decided to change the name to Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique.
Help other people to speak to their higher selves. You can. Dolores Cannon has taught thousands of people from across the world how to use QHHT. Now you can learn her method by going directly to themoreshow.com/QHHT. And don't forget to mention the discount coupon More Talks. Have you ever wondered, can you communicate directly with spirit guides, teachers, or non-physical consciousness, or even our higher selves? What would they tell us? My name is Kevin Moore, and since 2015, I started to practice a form of communication which is termed channeling. I have been interviewing experts on my talk show to find out, does life continue after we die? And can we communicate with those that have crossed over? With each expert I spoke to, they all had different ideas. Is there knowledge from the past which could be shared with the present moment? So I thought, why not just speak to the non-physical world directly through channelers around the world? And that's what I set out to do. They Call Us Channelers will take the viewers on a journey into the phenomena known as channeling. And my main goal with this docuseries is to bring a new understanding and awareness to channeling by looking within ourselves and asking, is it truly possible that we can all use this innate ability?
Hello everybody, my name is Jill M. Jackson and I am a psychic medium, a psychic channel, a spiritual teacher, and an author. I am based right now out of Mississippi. I was born and raised in the Bible Belt of the Deep South. I have lived all over the place. I've lived in California, Arizona, Sedona, Asheville, North Carolina, but Spirit called me back to Mississippi about 7 years ago, telling me that more light was needed here in the Deep South because more and more people are waking up and wanting to learn more about consciousness expansion. So my husband and I opened a spiritual center here in Mississippi, and it's been absolutely beautiful. We have taught over 200 students, and there are so many gifted light workers here in the South, and it's been such an honor to bring our work here to the place that I was born in this lifetime. So I'm just honored to be here with you, Kevin. I'm really a fan of your work, and thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. No, it's great to have you on. Yeah, so you're in the Bible Belt, the Deep South, and you must have grown up then with religion as part of a daily, well, at least a weekly practice, I would have thought.
Yes, absolutely. I was raised Southern Baptist, and my first book is actually my memoir, and it's called Mississippi Medium, From Southern Baptist to Talking to the Dead. And it's just a story about my journey, about being raised in organized religion and starting to have more and more questions about some of the things that were being taught did not really make sense to me. And also some of the judgment around putting people in boxes, didn't really resonate with the truth of my knowing. And so I started just exploring other modes of spirituality. But I do honor everybody's religious path. I just personally left organized religion many, many years ago. I felt it a little bit confining.
Yeah, absolutely. Was that difficult family-wise to do the work that you're doing, or were most people acceptive?
My immediate family has always been very accepting of my gifts, so I'm very blessed in that way. My dad is highly psychic himself, and my mom was a medium. She's in the spirit world now, so my gifts were embraced. However, we were still trying to, I guess, fit in and go to the Sunday school and go to church every Sunday. I look back and I write about this in my book that as the preacher was up on the pulpit talking about, adultery and infidelity, we actually found out that he was having an affair he was married and he was having an affair with the choir director. And I just started feeling more and more of things did not really align with my own truth. And again, for those of you who are still following a religious path, I'm not saying that every preacher out there operates in this way. It was just my personal experience. And to me, spirituality is just embracing of the oneness. And I love that. And it resonates with my own truth.
Well, I'm sure he's been up to that in many other lives as well. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So your mother was a medium as well. Is that what you said?
She was a medium. Now it was a joke because she never wanted she called it a responsibility. She never wanted the responsibility to be a public medium. So she would always say, she called me Jay, and she said, Jay, you're the medium. I'm not the medium. Yet we talked about seeing the same spirits in the house all the time. And she had unbelievable experiences. She had a fairy friend that would visit her in her room. And she had experiences with the galactics as well, where she called them the cloud people, and they would fill up her room in such a loving way, and she could see their faces. So yes, she was very, very gifted.
Right. Okay. And let's just take you back a bit here as well. So the path for becoming a full-time medium, that didn't always appeared to be the path that you was going to follow. You had a sort of corporate path that you took, and then what was that push out the corporate path to do this full time then?
Yeah, great question, Kevin. I was actually a business manager in Los Angeles. I had a lot of celebrity clients, writers, actors, producers, directors, and I managed their money for them. I became a CPA. My degree's in accounting, and I had 2 near-death experiences where I ended up in the hospital. My spirit team tells me that I can be a little bit hard-headed at times, and it takes me a little bit to really understand what they're trying to show me. But what was happening was the path that I came here to follow this particular lifetime was not that of a CPA. And so it did not align with my physical body, and therefore illness started setting in. And I remember when I finally decided to have the faith to jump off that cliff, so to speak, and I was earning quite a nice income, and had a great team working with me. And I remember calling my dad, like shaking in my shoes, letting him know that, the college degree that he paid for, I have decided to leave that behind and actually go out there and offer my services as a professional psychic medium. And during that phone call, at first there was just silence on the phone. And then my dad said to me, what I want for you is to find your happiness. And if this is what brings you your joy and your happiness, then you have my blessing. And the rest is history. I really never looked back.
Okay, wow, that's amazing. And who were some of these celebrity clients that you were mingling with then?
Well, I had non-disclosures, but I can tell you some of the shows. Some of them were on CSI, some of them on the Rugrats, Saved by the Bell. So I just can't mention any names, but
Right.
I did.
Yeah, well, most people would know those shows. That's
Yes.
pretty cool. Okay, so you were a natural born psychic.
Yes. Well, I actually say that I'm more of a natural born medium, Kevin. And let me explain. As a child, I did not have so much the gift of prophecy. It was rather, I had the gift of being able to see the spirit world all around me. And at first I was frightened because my house would just be filled up with all of these spirit people. But at that time, I was not clairaudient. I could not hear them. So all I could do was see them, and it frightened me. I remember I would sit outside if my parents weren't home, and because my house would just be filled with all these people that I didn't know why they were there. But when I was 12 years old, my grandmother passed away, and that was my first experience of being able to hear clairaudiently. And I woke up in the middle of the night. She was floating above my bed, and she telepathically, and she was beautiful. She was not sick anymore. And she telepathically told me I'm in the other world, in heaven, some people call it. And I just want to let you know that I'm okay. And it was the most beautiful, loving message. And she sent me her love. And it was in the middle of the night, and I ran into my mom's room to tell her what had happened. And she told me that her mom had been visiting her as well. And for the next 3 nights, my grandmother would open up my mom's jewelry box, which it took a lot to open the bottom of it, and it would play music. And she was just letting us know that she was okay. And from that point forward, I was not afraid anymore.
Wow. Okay. So I can imagine that your evolution in the work that you're doing, it's evolved quite a bit, and we'll get into the channeling pretty soon. Well, if we just move to your first book, Mississippi Medium, My Journey from Southern Baptist to Talking to the Dead. In that book, you talk about some of your, spiritual struggles. Yeah, I mean, if you want to just touch on some of that book, you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like many of us, Kevin, we do struggle with, stepping outside of the box of what, we've been taught, very constraining truths or non-truths, I guess I would say. And so there was part of learning to dissolve that. And that's what I love to do in my spiritual teaching, is help others release those constraints and understand that we are so much more than our physical bodies. But yes, back then it was, like you said, an evolution. And I started training. To me, when people say that they don't need classes or they don't need training because they were born with the gifts, to me, that feels more like ego, because, even Tiger Woods, who's probably one of the greatest golfers, trains, and he still trains to this day. So I started taking classes. I've probably studied with maybe 11 or 12 different spiritual teachers. Went to Arthur Findlay College, New York, New Jersey, and really just my gifts just started evolving. I started out doing psychic work, and I was doing a lot of world predictions, and that became a little bit frustrating because some of the predictions would come in, and all I could really do, especially with the earth changes, is send energy. So I stopped doing the world predictions, and I started really opening up more and more of the connection to the other world. In 2009, I became certified in past life regression, and that was certainly paradigm shifting for me. And that was actually the first time that I channeled. I showed up in Sedona, my first time in Sedona, and one of the other participants came walking up to me, and she said, "I'm excited to meet you. You are a channel, you're a galactic channel, and you're going to be channeling for us at night." And I said, "No, I'm a medium, I'm a psychic, but I don't channel." And she said, "Yes, you do. Yes, you do." And I said, well, I'm open to whatever we're meant to do here. And I channeled for the group in our home every night, and I guess the rest is history. But I have resisted that a little bit, to be honest, Kevin. I just started publicly channeling. Other than when I was on spiritual retreats, I started publicly channeling maybe 3 years ago. I had a reading with April Crawford, who channels a group consciousness known as Veronica. And in that session, the group told me that my soul contract was actually to be a channel, and that the mediumship came so easily to me that I just sort of rode that wave once I got on it and went from there. But they were really encouraging me to start opening up more of the higher dimensional channeling. And I love all of it, Kevin. I feel like all of the gifts really have a place for us depending on what our needs are in the moment.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So how many readings did you do over the time? I mean, it must have been quite a few.
Yes. I would say in the thousands. I've done quite a few readings.
Because you had the school as well, which I think you've shut down just for now. So you were teaching as well, teaching others to develop their gifts, whether it came through as a natural, gift, or whether it came through later on in trauma, maybe where they've, had something major happen in their life, which has triggered their gifts. But you were teaching these people, and some went on to become, pretty well known as well.
Yes, I now the school. I have an online school that's still in existence, but my school in Mississippi, I closed that down probably about a year ago. And Spirit told me maybe about 2 years ago that my time of teaching mediumship in Mississippi was coming to a close, that I had really fulfilled the contract that I had. And Spirit said, this last year of you teaching, we would like you to teach others to teach your material and to carry on that legacy. And so the people who had studied with me for 2 to 3 years received an invitation, and there were 8 of them who decided that they really wanted to join me on the journey. And they went through my mediumship teacher training class, which was an entire year in itself. And it was the most beautiful experience, because the students actually received the teaching from myself, but then also the other, I called them mediumship teachers in training, were there, and they were allowed to practice, and then they received licensing to my material. And there's a couple of them that are actually teaching still in Mississippi, and that just brings so much joy to my heart.
Cool. That's pretty. So your website is?
I have 3, JillMJackson.com, IntuitiveCompassAcademy.com, and MysticJourneys.us.
So if people want to learn from one of your registered teachers, then I think you list them on your website from what I've seen.
They can just email me. They can email me, Kevin, and I'll be happy to put them in touch with those who do have my licensed material, if they want to learn in person in Mississippi. Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. So what was the catalyst to publish the first book then?
I felt like I really wanted to share my story for those who were struggling, and I still meet clients now who are struggling with leaving organized religion and also not fearing of their gifts, because, and again, not all preachers, but a lot of the preaching are talking about things that are fearful and going to hell, a fiery burning hell. And, the creator that I love and honor, there's not a hell. And I have had so many readings where the other world even says that they wish they had understood more about that before they had made their own transition to spirit, because it's not about fear. It's not about judgment. It's not about control. It's about non-judgment and unity and unconditional love. And I felt like if I could share my story through that journey, that it would help others maybe look into expanding into other realms of possibilities.
What was the sort of main messages that came through from loved ones in the sense of, well, even like, regrets, if there was any such thing as that, or teachings that came through just from people's readings? Was there anything that stands out when you still think back?
Yes, absolutely. There's several key factors that many of them talk about. One is, again, they wish they had been a little bit more open to stepping out of the constraints of the proverbial box and understanding that we are so much more than our physical bodies. And so, I don't know that they use the word regret so much in the spirit world, but the way we can understand it is, yes, their message to their loved ones is, step out of that and understand that we are all connected, and it is a beautiful thing. And nature, get out in nature and really appreciate the beauty of your planet, because we get so caught up in our daily struggles and getting on that hamster wheel, and our loved ones continue to remind us to be out in nature and to really have an appreciation for the beauty. And then I think the third thing is to play more, to be more in joy and go back to those childlike, states of being. I think that's why so many of us enjoy being around children, because they just don't have that energy of them, of the density, and the worries and the struggles and the anxiety. So those are the main messages. And yes, there's a lot of time for healing and apologies from both sides, from the sitters that are still here to their loved ones in the other world, for sure.
Yes, because some of us, we don't get to sort things out, while we're here, do we, with some people, and with family mainly, and we carry that with us to the other side, I suppose. Even if we've tried to work it out, maybe the other people are just not, responsive enough, or they just are not at that level to understand that, if you don't sort it out here, you're going to have to sort it out somewhere. But you see it from such a different perspective, I guess, when you cross over.
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful point, Kevin, because as you mentioned, we're all connected. And it's so beautiful when a sitter, when someone that is still here in the physical has accepted the forgiveness of their loved one for something that they, may have done in the physical. When they do accept their forgiveness, the energy shifts even for their loved one on the other side. And so it affects everyone. When we hold on to the traumas of that anger and resentment, it actually keeps us in a lower vibrational state. And that's what I try to explain. It's not up to us as mediums to force someone if they're not ready. Certainly if they're not ready to accept someone's forgiveness, I do explain to them how powerful it is when they are ready, that it's healing on so many levels for themselves and their loved ones.
Right, absolutely. And what do they talk about as in the nature of reality, in a sense? Have any of them, come through to just have that discussion sometimes? Like, and also, why we're here? The age-old question.
Yes, I'm getting that more from the channeling, more so than the mediumship readings. But I mean, some of them do. It's interesting. It's just like here in the physical. Some of the loved ones, the communicators that come through, do offer a lot of words of wisdom, and it's really funny because sometimes the messages that come through are actually things that can help me as well. Just remembrances again. To have fun, but it's a journey. I mean, we come here to learn and expand, and also the third dimension is about balancing karma, and so that's part of what we chose to do here in this earth.
Yeah. And I guess even with you doing the channeling, I mean, the idea of what we truly are is unfathomable, isn't it, really? We're not supposed to really know, are we? We're supposed to get on with this.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that too, because some people say, well, if you're psychic, why didn't you know not to get into that, bad business deal or that bad relationship, or why haven't you won the lottery? And it's like, we are on a soul's evolution as well, and it's not about that. It's about, the spiritual law of polarity teaches us actually to embrace those moments of being very uncomfortable, and understanding that within those moments of pain and grief, and sometimes trauma and sadness, it helps us actually to embrace more of the light and the beauty and the love, and to understand they're really the same thing. It's just vibrating on a different aspect of the spectrum.
Absolutely. And you've brought through some famous people as well, I believe.
Yes, I talked about that in my book. I was living in Sedona, Arizona at the time when Michael Jackson passed away, and he showed up in my room in the middle of the night in the physical form. Sometimes as a medium, I would say most of the time actually, I can see clairvoyantly, but in my third eye. So, more so in the mind's eye. But there have been a few occasions where I see them with my eyes open, and this was one of those occasions. And he showed up in my room, and he telepathically was telling me that he did not take his life, and he just, I tell the whole entire story in my book, but he just wanted to send love to his children. And he told me kind of what was gonna happen. He could actually see that justice would be served. And many years later, living in Mississippi, another medium walked into my spiritual center, and she started talking about her experience. She actually worked with Michael Jackson on his tour. She had a premonition that this was going to happen, and I have chills right now talking about it. And she did sort of warn a few people, and she backed away from that. And we have gone into trance together, and brought his dad through, and it was just really profound. What are the odds that I would meet another medium in Mississippi, of all places, who actually had a Michael Jackson encounter as well?
Moving on as well, you've done psychic investigations, you've done all that kind of work, and then at what point then did the second book come out then? How long ago was The Secrets of the Secret?
I believe that's been out 2 or 3 years, Kevin. Now that book, that goes back to my journey of many years ago. I have always considered myself a master manifester. Even my friends just marvel if I want something, I call it into existence, and I teach others how to do so. But there was one aspect of my life where I was unsuccessful. I was trying to have a child, and I had many, many miscarriages, and I kept reading about the law of attraction, and I would do the vision boards, and I would, speak it. I even named my child. I knew she would be a little girl. I bought her presents, and I did all of the tools from the law of attraction. And I had 6 miscarriages, and it just wasn't meant to be in this lifetime. And I went into the depths of depression, because not only did I have to come to the realization that in this lifetime I would not be a parent, but I also went into the depths of depression on why was I not successful? Why was I not good enough to manifest in this way? And I went on my own quest and my own journey to start getting answers to that. And I started journaling about my experiences and what I found. And I decided to put that in a book, because again, so many clients were having some of the same issues. Why am I not able to manifest my soulmate? Why am I not able to manifest my dream job? And on and on and on. So I wrote the book to help others, because the law of attraction is powerful. It's amazing. It's not saying that it doesn't work. However, there's other spiritual laws that we need to bring in with the law of attraction. And then there's also past lives and soul contracts that come into play as well. So if we have a soul contract in a lifetime to maybe expand our own soul to balance some karma from a previous lifetime, then we may not be able to manifest in that particular area that our ego thinks that we want. However, what I have found out is that the universe always gives us even more. Because if we're not able to manifest something in the way, there's a song in Unanswered Prayers. A lot of times, if we can learn to trust and surrender and know that we have a soul's plan, we have a soul's contract. And what I found out is that I have a soul contract in this lifetime to be a mother to many, and to also help other parents and guardians with their own gifted children. And so that's what the book Secrets of the Secret is about.
That's interesting. So, yeah, you can't go against those deeper things going on. So, yeah, people bang on about the law of attraction, don't they? But what you're saying is the secret of the secret, or secrets of the secret, the missing element is, well, there's maybe something deeper going on, in the sense that there's an experience that you've got to go through. There's deeper reasons as to why those things are not manifesting. And that's not really talked about, is it? So much in the law of attraction. It's not a common thing, is it? We attract whatever you want. You know what I mean? But and no matter how much you really want it, there's other things at play. So when you look back with the miscarriages, and you look back at not having kids, as you say, you were given, you saw the bigger picture that you were helping so many others, as a mother would do, right? In a different way. Yeah.
Absolutely. And trust me, this was not something that happened overnight. This was years. I mean, I went through, terrific grief, as so many who have lost children and were unable to have children. I mean, I understand that kind of pain. So it was more of an evolution. But yes, looking back, the law of attraction, as I said earlier, is so powerful. But then we have so many other spiritual laws, and I talk about that in my book, the spiritual law of vibration, the spiritual law of action, because the universe really needs to see that we're serious about what we're wanting. We can't just sit around in the lotus position and thinking that everything's going to come to us. Everything is energy. Everything has a vibrational frequency. So as humans, it's up to us to show the universe, okay, I'm going to start researching other places that I may want to live, because that's the spiritual law of action. And that tells the universe that we're serious.
Yes. That's a difficult one to go through, though, to be able to see it from that perspective the way that you have. Did you ever consider adopting?
I am a doggy mother. I have.
Well, that's good enough then.
Yes.
So you have adopted.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have adopted.
Okay. Well, that's that's important. Yeah. Dogs are important as well. Animals are important. Are you an animal communicator as well?
I am, Kevin. Yes. Now, I did it for years professionally, mainly when I lived in California. When I was living in Ojai, California, I was doing a lot of animal communication, and even years after that. And I still do it if it comes up in the session. But, it was really difficult for me because I'm such a sensitive and empath, and I actually connect on a deeper way with animals, sometimes more so than humans. So I was getting a lot of questions about, is it time, for my beloved animal to cross over the Rainbow Bridge and things like that. So it was just really tearing at my heart. So I stopped offering those services.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's never an easy time. The crossing over of a pet. Yeah. Yes, the things that life gives us, right? the joys and then it takes it away, don't it? But this is the circle of life, isn't it? I suppose. And There's so many ways to learn things, isn't there? And pets do teach us, most definitely. So,
Yeah.
what was a common thing though in the pet readings then, do you think?
It's funny, they would really kind of help their humans. A lot of times the humans would think that they were getting the reading, to ask about a behavioral issue or a medical issue or something like that. But a lot of times there was so much wisdom that would come through. Remember one really funny session. A woman had a dog, and it was just she and her dog for so long, and then she became engaged, and her fiance moved in, and the dog really just started misbehaving and acting up. And so she had a session to ask me, what's going on. And so when I connected with her dog, the dog said to me, "He stinks. I don't like him because he stinks." And I said, "I'm not going to tell her that her fiance stinks." And the dog said, but he does. I said, "Can you explain it to me in a different way?" And he said, I don't like the way he smells. And so finally I said to her, I explained just that. And she started bursting out laughing and said that he uses the strongest cologne, and that she's even been trying to get him to cut back on the cologne, and that now she could let him know that the dog doesn't like the cologne either. But we were able to take it a step further, because actually, the cologne was just kind of a stepping stone to help us understand, where I could tell the dog, look, it doesn't mean that she loves you any less. You just have another family member that's joined in. And so two things happened. Her fiance stopped using so much cologne, and then the dog started understanding that they could be a nice family joined together.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. So just getting back onto life purpose as well. Yeah, I think that sometimes we've got to go through certain, I don't know if I'd even call them lessons, but experiences, right? Most definitely.
Yes.
And they're not always pleasant. They are not
Absolutely.
always pleasant. And they can get the best of us, can't they, in some respects? And everyone's pain is different and unique, I suppose. But it's what we learn from. Is it what we learn from it, or maybe it's it definitely does point us into directions that we need to go in. I think that's what it does as well. It really shapes us, doesn't it? Some of these big learning lessons as to if we are on the wrong path. It's almost like that pain's going to stay there until you are being more true to yourself.
Absolutely, and I agree with you, Kevin. I don't really resonate with the word lessons either. I prefer to call them soul growth opportunities. So I love it that you said you don't care for that word as well. But yes, there are opportunities for us to grow, because that's the purpose of incarnating on this planet, right? To grow as a soul and to evolve. And without those painful experiences, I'll give you an example. I thought I understood grief until my mother passed away. And, she was one of my soulmates in this lifetime. She's my best friend. And I had no clue what grief was until that happened. I was a medium before that. And I was, I was loving to be in service to spirit, but I had no understanding of what true grief was. So, what I hope that my mom was still here in the physical, 100%. But did I learn from it to understand, to enjoy every moment, and to not take anything for granted? Every day is a special gift that we have here. And so it actually, the grieving of the loss actually taught me to love on a deeper level.
Yeah, and to accept present situation as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Because we can fight it a lot, can't we? Which can cause a lot of unhappiness. But yeah, I can imagine when Mum passed, that was difficult. But maybe some of the gift of well, you mentioned a number of things there, but I guess anyone that's coming to you for a session that was in pain, you could understand where they're you really could emphasize what they're going through, if that's the right word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's life's a journey, isn't it? It's God, why do we do it to ourselves? Um, but I guess there's a long queue of people wanting to come here, souls wanting to incarnate. Are we all mad? God.
I think some days I think we might be, Kevin.
Yes, I
What the
think.
hell was I thinking? I ask
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. But then when you are living in purpose and when you are doing something that you find as value fulfillment, then maybe those types of thinking just, go away. Um, and maybe that's what we're trying to do in these times that we're living right now. It's for people to go more into value fulfillment, for people to go more into what they really should and want to be doing.
Absolutely. And that's one of my joys as a spiritual teacher is to help people find their own life path, their own soul's contract and journey. Because when we do step onto that path, things tend to flow. It doesn't mean that challenges won't come in and, we don't have chaos sometimes and turbulence along the way. But in general, when we are on our soul's path, things do tend to flow in an easier way. And that's what I love helping people discover for themselves.
So let's just move this on now to your channeling as well. Well, unless there's anything you want to touch upon the manifesting, because I know you mentioned that. I mean, you've got a whole book based on it. Manifestation magic. If there's anything you think we've not touched upon that you think's important, maybe.
Yes, for everyone listening, it's super important when you're wanting to manifest to make sure that your own personal vibrational frequency is at a high state. Okay, so I talk about manifesting in the fifth dimension, and actually everything's created in the sixth dimension. So if you can try to get your frequency to the fifth and sixth dimensional frequency prior to manifesting, it is much easier. So if you feel like, we all have human emotions. So I'm not saying that it's not okay to feel sad some days or to feel angry or frustrated. We all have those emotions as humans, but we don't want to manifest when we're in a lower vibrational state. So that's the first thing, is to raise our vibration. We can raise it through chanting, music, experiencing joy, love, getting out in nature. There's just so many ways that, speaking words, we can start our day every day in gratitude. So those are some ways to raise our own frequency. But the other key that I really want to talk about quickly, Kevin, is a lot of people feel like when they're trying to manifest something that it needs to be focused on every single day. They wake up every day with this fervor. And actually, when we trust and surrender, there's a spiritual law of faith that says we have faith that the universe is going to deliver. So it might seem a little bit of an oxymoron when I talk about raising the vibration, telling the universe what we're wanting, but at the same time going into a place of trust and surrender and allowing it to unfold. Because as I mentioned earlier, sometimes it unfolds in a way that we had no clue that was the way it was going to unfold.
Yep. Is all I'll say to that. Absolutely. So, at this latter part of your career, we're now channeling, and I believe, you channel you channel the Pleiadian Council of 8. You're channeling the now. There's another group that you channel as well, isn't there?
Yes, I have channeled the Emerald Group. I have channeled a group consciousness by the name of Solomon. And there's different, that's the primary groups that have come in. Sometimes when I'm channeling, different groups will come in during that channeling with different messages, but those are the primary groups that I have channeled.
Okay, and with the channeling then, for yourself, it's more about spiritual teaching information. Yeah.
Yes, and like you said, helping us understand, what the heck we're doing here, and what is this all about. I know for myself, when I'm in the higher states of channeling, even if I'm feeling down that day or depressed about something, and I can go into a channeling and receive guidance on it, it really helps shift my own understanding of what's going on. And I think within the times, and that's why I'm just so delighted with the work that you're doing, because you're introducing the world to channeling. And, the world really knows about psychics and mediumship, but channeling is just becoming more and more, hopefully more and more mainstream. And I know you're one of the pioneers that's helping this happen. And it's so necessary to help us understand that there's different dimensions, and we can learn so much from the multidimensional beings.
Yes, it's crazy, isn't it? The idea of interdimensional communication, and the dimensions that are out there. Apparently, yeah, it is fascinating, and there's so many more people doing it now as well. There's many different shows now, interviewing channelers, and it's just crazy to see how much it's become so popular just recently. So
Yes.
yeah, that is crazy to see that. And how people use the word channeling in so many different ways. You hear it on TV adverts. It's all over the place. I channeled that character. When I was, the actors talk about that, don't they? Sometimes as well. Well, many people do. So there's a new book that you're working on as well. That's going to be coming out next year. The Children of the New Earth. Why do you think that this is your next book? What's important about this book?
Well, this was actually the Emerald Group came to me in 2014, and I channeled about the Golden Ray children, actually. And it was one of those things. I was in deep meditation in Naples, Florida, and wasn't even thinking about that at all. And during that, I received so much guidance about, they told me they would start incarnating in 2015. They told me that they were coming in on the 12th ray of consciousness, that they would have a golden aura with them, and that they had no karma, and that they started telling me that I would be writing a book and helping people understand. And so when I came out of that, the human Jill was sort of resistant, I guess is the right way, because I was saying, why me? I wasn't, I have not been a mother. I'm not a child psychologist. Why would I be entrusted with such sacred material? And they explained that it was part of my soul contract. And they explained that not only am I to be a mother to many, but that I'm to help guardians with their own gifted children. And since I was born with the gift myself, that I understand what it's like to be a child who may be misunderstood. And it's just turned into an amazing journey. I've been interviewing parents of, the crystal children who are parents. I was an indigo. They're called indigo adults now, but the indigos were the forerunners that kind of paved the way. And many light workers are indigos. And then the crystal children came in, and then the rainbow children. And then most people are familiar with the indigos and the crystal and the rainbow. And then the diamond ray. So I had never heard of the golden ray children. That was the first one that I know of that started channeling about this new breed of children. And it's just been fascinating finding out it's not about putting these children in a box, and certainly some of them overlap. There's different years where the majority have incarnated, but certainly there can be overlaps in those years. So it's not about certainly not putting these children in a box. It's the opposite. It's about understanding that they are star seeds, just like we are, and they have a sacred mission to come and help us with the ascension, help us with the healing of Mother Earth. And it's just been amazing.
So the children of the Golden Ray, what are we looking at then? The years of birth, 20.
So 2017, the majority came in, but the first waivers, as I call them, started coming in around 2015. And I have actually interviewed for my book a grandmother of a golden ray who did incarnate in 2015. And it's interesting because some of the crystal children and even the rainbow children chose parents who maybe needed healing themselves, or, and so they came in for soul contracts to actually help the parents and help others. But the golden rays, what I've channeled is they are only going to choose parents and grandparents who are awake, because their path right now, is kind of a quicker path, and we're on an expansive, everybody understands that time as we know it is speeding up. So they're only choosing to incarnate with those parents who understand the gifts and are awake on their own journeys. And they come here, they've never had a lifetime on this planet. So they're a little bit sometimes socially awkward. They have more of a connection with nature and with animals. I had a beautiful experience where I actually channeled a little golden ray girl of two parents while she was still in the womb. They came to me, and it was so beautiful, her energy. Tears were just going down my face. And during that mediumship session, she was explaining even more things, and I've learned so much more by connecting to the souls of these golden rays. But one thing that came through in that session was the connection with animals and wild animals. And do you know, her mother emailed me about a year ago and said, you won't even believe it, but her connection to the animal kingdom, there was an instance where she was in the backyard and a huge bear came into the backyard, and instead of being afraid, they were just literally seeing each other's energy in their soul. And this mother told me that bear bowed down to her daughter, and I get chills just thinking about it. And I'm not suggesting that people go and have their children interact with bears. I'm just sharing that experience, that bear was able to see the purity in this child and know that she would never harm them, and it was just so beautiful.
Okay, so when you channel, then how easy is it for you to connect? Is it pretty quick that you go? I mean, how does it work for you?
Yes, I'm able to go in usually about a minute, and that's taken a while as well. One of my it was in mediumship, actually. One of my teachers, Alfred Ricci and Hans Christian King, taught me that probably 10 years ago. When I started studying with them as a medium, they said, how long does it take you to connect? And I said, about 3 to 5 minutes. And they said, would you like to improve on that? I said, absolutely. And so through that training, they were able to help me make that connection within about a minute.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, if you want to channel on this show, you're more than welcome to.
I would love to. I would love to do that.
Kevin,
I would be honored.
Okay. Well, I'll just let you, I mean, if you want to talk to the audience about how just the process that you're going to do, and then I'll wait for you to connect.
Okay. All right. So with my channeling, I do close my eyes. I go into a trance state, and we will just see who wants to come forth today. And then also, Kevin, if you want to ask questions while I'm in the trance state of any of the collectives that come in, I would welcome and honor that as well. Okay. Give me just a minute. Greetings. We are the Pleiadian Council of Eight, and we are delighted to join you for this beautiful day. We are here to help humanity answer the many layers of questions that seem to be troubling many of the humans on the timeline that you are on. And we are here to help you understand that each human has an opportunity to step onto any timeline of their choice. Many of you have chosen the timeline that tends to operate into a frequency of fear and separation. And we honor that because of the free will that humans have been provided through the incarnation on the planet that you call Earth. However, we are lovingly here to help you understand that there are different timelines, and through your free will, you are able to immerse yourself into the frequency of the timelines in the understanding that the third dimension, as you have understood it for so long, as you understand your time constraint in this continuum, is collapsing, our dear friends. However, free will of each human allows them to remain on that timeline. We are here to help you understand that there is a new Earth formation, and the old Earth is splitting, and those of you who choose to remain on the third dimensional frequency will remain in the energy of the old Earth. We can see from our dimension that many of you are confused in this moment of your soul's evolution. And we also see that there are moments in your day, as you understand it in this density, where you resonate with more of the confusion of the separation. And there are other days where you resonate with the higher dimensional frequency of the unity. And we are here to help you understand that it is your free will to bravely step forward and immerse yourself into the full timeline of at least the fifth dimensional. Some of those on your planet are vibrating in the sixth dimensional frequency. And we are here to help you understand that in the new Earth is about unity, and it is about divine oneness. However, we are here to help you understand that in the new Earth, there will still be karmic residue. However, our dear friends, this will be lessened from a different paradigm from what you understand karma to be in the third density. We are here to embrace each one of you. We see you through the resonance of your light. And as you step into the resonance of unity, your light shines in a frequency where we can see you. And with your free will asking for our assistance, we are delighted to help each one of you anchor in the energy of the new Earth. We understand that many humans have a tendency to still seep their energy in a frequency of scarcity, in a frequency of separation, and even a frequency of fear. And we are here to remind you that as you bravely step forward onto the path of the new Earth, there is no vibrational room for these energetic signatures. So we are here and honored with our sacred mission to help any and all humans who ask for our assistance and who we can determine are vibrating in a resonance of light. We are delighted to be able to help you along your soul's journey in anchoring in the energy of the new earth.
Thank you very much for that. And you just mentioned there, well, at the very beginning, about stepping into any timeline. So how would you suggest, if someone, is that a natural thing of, as you get more into doing whatever it is that you want to do, right? That you're naturally stepping into other timelines, but is there a way to actually do that consciously as well?
The best way that we can explain is in your earthly dimension, you have radio waves and you have microwaves and you have the worldwide web who you may not understand how these frequencies work. However, you have learned to trust in that they do work. And the best way that we can understand these timelines are that they are a vibrational frequency, a resonance, if you will. And in the timeline of the old earth, your paradigm in the old paradigm has been anchored for millennia in a paradigm of separation. And so we, from the higher realms, can see this frequency. However, many light workers have agreed to incarnate on your planet to be able to help you understand that there are other frequencies and other timelines. And the frequency and the timeline that we, as the higher dimensional, multidimensional beings, have agreed to help anchor in is the timeline of the new earth, which is anchored in the fifth dimensional frequency. Now, does this mean that some of you who are vibrating in the new earth will not ascend to even higher states? That is absolutely the case. Absolutely, the new paradigm, there will be dimensional shifts within the new earth. However, the anchoring in the new earth frequency is one of unity and one of non-judgment. And so those of you who choose this timeline, we encourage you to begin practicing and begin realigning your energy with the higher vibrational energy of unconditional love and divine oneness and unity and non-judgment. However, from our realm, we can also see that many humans are, I guess, what would we say, vacillating between the two timelines because they are still unclear, or maybe their energetic signature is still undecided or unclear as to how to anchor that in permanently. And what we can lovingly say is this is something that you can set through your intentions. You can anchor in this knowing into your being. And we are here to help you remember your authentic truth and to help you remember that you are so much more than what you have been taught. And we are here to help you release the shackles of the control of what many on your planet have an agenda of. And we are here for any and all who ask for our assistance to help you realign your soul to a permanent vibration of the timeline of the new earth. And we hope that this can help you understand this frequency.
Thank you. Yeah, the whole non-judgment. Yeah. So when we're sort of traveling into other timelines, in a sense, I guess there's some. I guess the change that you see is a change that's within you, potentially, but there still may be lots of things going on in the outside world, in these other timelines, in these other, realities, in a sense, and it all looks very similar, doesn't it? Probably, but there's something shifted within you, isn't there? When you're moving across to different, timelines. I'm using human words here, and I'm not too sure, if I'm using the right words, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, there's still things going on around us, isn't there? But is any place a new Earth compared to this place if you're coming from that non-judgmental, more kindness to yourself, more loving to yourself, and living in purpose?
Our beloved human brothers and sisters, we encourage you to understand the difference between judgment and discernment. And from our realm, we can understand that many of you and many light workers have become confused about the difference between judgment and discernment. Many light workers carry a torch of shining the light of truth. However, we are here to help you understand that it is important as you traverse into the frequency of the new earth to practice your own discernment. And what do we mean by this? We mean learn to go into your own core, learn to go into your center, because our dear friends, the human body that you have incarnated within always gives us the answers. The human body gives you the answers to help you understand the discernment of truth. So we implore you to begin within and to begin connecting with the own essence of your center. And as you connect with the essence of your own truth and your own center, you will anchor in more of the energy of discernment, which means your light will be shining in such a capacity that many will be drawn to the frequency of your light. However, many of those who choose to vibrate in the energy of the chaos of the third density may also be connected to your light as well. And this is where the discernment comes in, to not allow your own frequency to get caught up in the illusion of the chaos, because our friends, this is what it is. It's an illusion. And this is what our sacred mission is, to help anchor in the new codes, to help the light workers who have asked our assistance to anchor in the codes of ancient esoteric knowledge in order to have the perseverance to step bravely forward on your path and not to get deluded into the illusion of chaos and separation.
Yeah, and what is special about this time then? What is it about these times that is so different to other pinnacles that mankind has reached before?
This is a wonderful and multi-layered question. We are delighted to witness this evolution as well. And one way we can explain the difference is that your planet has also agreed with her own evolution to ascend to the higher realms as well. And your Earth Mother, as so many of you lovingly call Gaia, is delighted to share in this experience with those humans who are delighted to share this journey with her. Therefore, this is very different than the timelines of the past, where there have been instances of calamities and earth changes in which your planet, in a way, had to be reseeded by many galactics, and the star seeds that are on your planet were some of the ones that seeded this Earth planet on many occasions. However, now the evolution of the new Earth is not only an evolution for those humans who chose to incarnate during this time, it is also amazing for us in the higher realms to witness as well, because as the planet Earth makes her own ascension to the higher realms, and as more of the humans choose that as well, this actually shifts our frequency in the higher realms, because everything is energy and everything is connected. So we rejoice in this evolution of these times on your planet. And we are here to celebrate those of you who are the pioneers and who have braved the challenges along the way. And we are here to congratulate and applaud you, and to say, keep walking forth and keep shining the torch of your own truth. And we walk with you.
Well, just thank you so much for connecting with us right now and sharing the messages that you have. Thank you.
We would like to send our blessings and our love. Thank you. That is all.
Well, thank you very much, Jill, for that. That's appreciated. So just remind us as well, now, if people watching this want a session with yourself, then they would go to the website. You know, your website is just the one of them.
It is jillmjackson.com.
Okay. And they can book a session with yourself on there. And when they book a session, can they book whether they wanted a mediumistic, mediumistic session or a channel session or both?
Yes, absolutely. And I offer mentoring as well, which is more channeling. Kevin, I love the mentoring, just channels and helps people on their path. So I offer that as well.
Okay. And I guess it's depending on what the client needs as to what comes through, in a sense.
Yes, absolutely. Every situation is different, and I love all of the sessions. I do separate them. I know some don't. I offer just psychic and just the mentoring with the channeling and just the mediumship, and then I do a combination as well.
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot of good psychics out there, mediums, should I say, that would say that what they're doing is a form of channeling.
Yes, and I think it's just layers, right? Every psychic is different, every channel is different, every medium's different. But yes, a lot of psychics out there, and they may not even realize it, Kevin, that as they evolve with their own journey, they do realize that they start channeling more and more of that information, and it's beautiful. A lot of my students have gone through that as well, and I've taught in-person channeling at my school here in Mississippi, and I love doing that as well.
Well, that's cool. That's very cool. Okay. Well, Where has the time gone, right? It's flown by. Yeah. Well, I think this new book that you're going to be bringing out is going to be interesting, and I know you're only at the very beginning part of it right now, and I'm sure when it comes out, it'll be the right time as well, with all the changes that are going on out there right now. There's a lot going on out there right now for people, and
Yes.
it's been very challenging for and worrying as well for a lot. So I think these messages just help, see the bigger perspective, and just how big it is as well, and how, we can do so much, can't we, with our lives? There's such a lot we can do, such a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And Kevin, it just one final word. It's really simple when you look at it, that if we could just all practice the golden rule, do unto others, imagine what our world would be like, because it's pretty simple when you look at it like that. If we can just treat others the way that we want to be treated. And then the other thing is, and I teach my students this, if we can remember to speak from our heart, rather than from our minds, that will also help shift the world as well.
that is so true. That is so true. Well, Jill, I just want to thank you so much for coming on today, and just wishing you all the best with everything you're doing, especially with the book launch as well when it happens. So we'll get you back on for that. So just thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It was such an honor. I appreciate it. And thank you very much for the work you're doing as well.